Okay, hello, welcome again. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to continue on our next project, Paper Cutout. It's for Art 30B students, and you get to create this nice little beautiful, simple paper cutout right here. So let me zoom in and show you what our goal is today. I know this looks very familiar. It looks like the Dollar Tree, but you know, it's very effective, and you get to learn how to make a paper cutout designs. These are very effective for children's books or other type of medium. Excuse me. And it's a lot of fun to create, very simple, but also very challenging because we have to deal with a lot of settings through here. And there's also other things we can do. All right, so I'm going to move ahead and create our first shapes. Okay, so we're going to zoom in through the first artboard, or we can just go to the very bottom settings, artboard settings. You can't see it through my, let me see if I can. Okay, there you go. You can go to tree trunk. There you go. So we're going to create these shapes, very easy, and let me just move my screen up. Okay, good. So we're going to go and select a rectangle and make sure it's set on none on the fill, and the stroke can be 2 or 3, whichever you feel more comfortable with. Okay, so we're going to create a rectangle and we're going to create an ellipse tool. We're going to create an ellipse from the ellipse tool. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing we've done before, like a bunch of times. There you go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut these. When we're going to cut these, we're not going to use the shape building. We're going to go to Windows and Pathfinder. So Pathfinder is right here near the bottom. And we're going to go to the second one. So it's minus front. So remember, minus front is going to be, it's going to get rid of the shape that's in front of let me see. How can I explain this better? It's going to get rid of the shape that's in front of the other shape. Okay, so we're going to do that. So, you have to select both. Don't forget to do that and then click that. So this is a nice, easy way of creating, your shape. We're going to move along and we're going to we're going to go to transform, reflect, okay, and then make sure it's on vertical, so right here, and then we're going to preview, and then we're going to press copy. So this is a nice way to switch it around a little bit, and then we're going to try and fit these through the guidelines. There you go. Okay, select both, and we're going to go to the first one. So this is called Unite, and it creates a compound shape. So it's going to join both of these shapes very easily. Okay, so we're going to move it here. You can, if you want to, fill all these in, but it doesn't really matter because I just want you to turn in your final piece. Okay, now we're going to modify this, and you can modify it however you want. That's your choice. You can add like more branches if you want to. You can, let's say, okay, there you go. So you can add like little smaller branches, bigger branches, vary them a little bit more. Add some roots if you want to. That's your choice, but I'm just going to keep it very simple just to save a little bit more time because this can get complicated really, really easily. Trust me on this. I can go too far when it comes to design, and sometimes that's even worse. It turns out overworked. So try to keep things as simple as possible. But if you feel like you have time to experiment, that's awesome too. So you can do that if you have time. But right now, let's just keep it very simple if you aren't into spending hours on creating very simple designs. Okay, so we're gonna, follow this curve around. Actually, I'm gonna go and deviate a little bit from it. You also can do like more curves. So I'm not following this exactly. There you go. And also, honestly, variety is way more fun. I always end up changing my mind with like how I want a design to look like. You are free to do that too. Okay, so what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to split this into two branches, and one of them is going to be, so we're going to go on this direct select tool, and then we're going to select these two anchor points on the top until we're blue. So let me just show you. Like direct select tool, create a marquee, just select these three anchor points, click on one, and then drag up. And that's a choice you can make. You don't have to use the direct select tool. I know some of you haven't used it before, so we're going to be heavily rely on it. We're going to rely on it a lot more in the coming weeks, but for now, if you want to start experimenting with the direct select tool, feel free to do so. That's only if you feel comfortable using it. Okay, so we're going to leave this alone. And don't worry if the lines look a little strange. We're going to get rid of them anyways, and we could always adjust it later. Okay, so for this one's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to create our cloud. And there's a lot of it's a lot of ellipses here, so I'm going to zoom in. Okay, this is pretty easy. Okay, so I'm going to create circles. Let me just see if I can, and try to fit it in the guidelines as best as you can, but honestly, we're going to adjust them anyways on our next step. So if you want to add more circles, if you want to take away some circles, feel free to do so. The whole point of art is experimentation, especially with Illustrator. The more you experiment, the more mistakes you make, and the more you're going to learn. So don't feel afraid of making mistakes in Illustrator. There's always a way to fix things. If not, you could always start over, and starting over is actually a lot faster, and you feel more confident with fixing your mistakes. It takes a lot of patience sometimes, though, so with my experience, I on purposely made mistakes. I did it on purpose because I know as an artist that if you don't make mistakes, oh, there you go. I think I need to deselect. Okay, so I just have to deselect. So, as an artist, you'll know that the more mistakes you make, it's actually telling you that you are actually improving. You're learning to let things go really easily. I think it's also very therapeutic too. The Illustrator gives you that power to experiment, to change things, which is really, really nice. So for our next step, we're gonna press Alt, and also make sure they're all selected. So let me go back and show you. So make sure they're all selected, press Alt, and drag over here. Okay, so on Pathfinder, on Pathfinder, you're gonna press on Alt or Option on the keyboard. So Option is for Macs, and click here. So basically you created a mask, and it's pretty cool, right? I really enjoy it. So feel free to move things around. If you want to move this shape here, if you want to move this shape here, go crazy, go have fun. If you want to make one bigger, that's good too. So the way I'm doing it is I'm just selecting the biggest, whatever bubble I see, double click. So it's going to take you to a layer. And let me show you. So whenever you double click on something, it's going to go into isolation mode. And in the layer section, it's going to show you all of the shapes that you created. In isolation mode, I think we've covered that before. If you were in my art A class, it's hard to get into if you don't see it here. So the best way to get into an isolation mode is to double click on a shape, and you're there already. Okay, and see, we can also create another shape through here. Let's go into creating another shape. Okay, so now we have everything selected, or deselected. Let's just do that. Let's get out of isolation mode, and once you're outside of isolation mode, let's select our shape from that. Okay, so our best option is going by Object, Expand Appearance. And it does the same thing, and it does it with multiple objects. Okay, so now we're going to slice this cloud. And again, it doesn't have to fit our shape here. You notice that mine is a little bit different. But we're going to slice it. So we're going to click on the knife tool. If you don't see it, it's probably underneath the eraser tool. So let's press Alt or Option, and we're going to hover over here. Just press on the key, click, and then drag out. Press Shift if you want to align this perfectly. So there you go. Okay, now we're going to go to our selection tool, and click on the bottom shape. Okay, so let's see if that works. Okay, so both of them are selected. Okay, we're going to have to ungroup them and see if that works. If not, you can always press on the drag selection tool and click on this shape on one of the paths, but since it worked, you can just delete it, select and delete it. There you go. That's our shape. Okay, this one's pretty easy. I know, like the little Dollar Tree. But the reason I did this is because I want to show you how the shadows work. Once we start creating them, it doesn't work really well with creating a fluffy tree, but you can try. I think it looks okay. Okay, so let's go to eraser tool. So eraser tool, we're going to try to keep this as even as possible. It doesn't have to meet the exact lines. You can always press on the close bracket on your keyboard, the open bracket, and the close bracket. So let me show you how they look like. Okay, so when you press on this one, your brush is going to get smaller. When you press on this one, your brush is going to get bigger. So just keep that in mind. I'm just going to delete them. Okay, so let's go back to your eraser tool, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, good. Select your circle, eraser, and go to town. I'm going to try not to. There you go. Awesome. So that's the shape you need to create. And we're going to start creating our background. This one's pretty easy. It's the same feature as the cutting. So it's the same as the tree and the cloud. So again, very simple things to do. But my biggest warning is, okay, so when you see these guys, try to select them and move them up a little bit more. Okay. That depends on where they are. Okay, so I want you to create a rectangle that is a little bit further out of the artboard, because you're going to run into a lot of problems if you keep it within the bounds of the artboard. When you start creating your shapes especially, that's just going to be a huge problem to deal with, and it's something I don't want to worry about later. So let's just make sure these are fairly outside of the artboard. So I think this is good. A little bit more, just to feel a little safer, because you're going to be arranging them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on eraser and then press on knife. Okay, and make sure you fill this first. So let's fill it to a nice gray or blue or whatever color you're comfortable with. It doesn't matter, we're going to change them. Let's keep it a little bit. Yes, okay, so this one's great. Okay, so first we're going to create our hill, and try to go as smooth as you can. They're going to overlap a little bit, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Okay, so now we're going to create our sky. So if it doesn't look perfect the first time, there you go. Keep going at it, and then I'm going to go a little crazy with this one. Make it a little bit. There you go. Maybe a little bit more. I always change my mind. Okay, so make 3 cuts, and you're going to be able to separate these very easily. Okay, so for the color scheme, the first one is going to be purple. So over here, hover over this one. Oh, did we end up cutting? Oh, we didn't deselect entirely. So just make sure you're deselected and then select the top shape. Excuse me. Okay, there you go. Let's do that for each one. And you could also choose from the picture. It doesn't really matter where, but I like to have these swatches here as a reminder. Also, I just like how they look. So this helps you with color harmony and, you know, visualizing in the future. So if I were to create a project without this, having this is a great help. Okay, so let's select our grass. Now, the next step is I want you to actually grab this shape or duplicate it, and then we're going to plop it right here. And then I want you to press Control Shift and close bracket. Okay, it's on the very front. It should be on the very front. And you can see, I want to show you a little bit what it does. So I did something to the color mode, so you can just see a preview of how it's going to look like. So we're going to match these colors. This one actually matches this one. So you can see the excuse me, you can see the change of the color. Excuse me. Okay, so let's just delete this, and we're going to, let's just create it here. That's fine, and I'm going to show you how to change the appearance of the colors and use this as an overlay. It's fairly easy. You're going to have to go to Windows, Appearance. Okay, here you go. And then we're going to choose on Opacity, and Opacity is going to show you the color mode. So we're going to go to Normal. Okay, select it. We're going to go to Normal, and then we're going to go to Overlay. So Overlay, and that's how you get this color effect. It's really, really nice. And that's it on that. Okay, make sure you lock it first, unless you want to create a shadow shape. So let's lock it, Control 2, and we're still able to select our shapes, and then we're going to have the tree be right in front of this. Okay, so let's select our tree shapes. Okay, so I'm going to have this here, and then also I'm going to right away press on I or the eyedrop tool here and click on this. Okay, and I'm just going to drag it here, and I'm just going to change the size. Okay, go to Control Shift, close bracket, and there you go, right away. It is going to be on the very front, or you can right click, arrange, and bring to front, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Okay, for the cloud, we're going to select it, press the eyedrop tool or I on the keyboard, click, make sure it's gray, and let's drag it here. Okay, if you don't see it right away, it means that it's behind these shapes. So you can always go to right click, arrange, and bring to front. So it's going to be right in front of the tree, but we want it to be behind. And so let's just press on Control, just Control without the Shift, and we're gonna choose the open bracket, the bracket that's facing the left side. So it's this one. There you go. Let's see, once it changes colors, that's fine. I want it to be a little bit pinker, so let's see if we can change it. Okay, so we're gonna go all the way. We're not gonna get it exactly like our first cloud, and I actually want to make it a little bit darker. There you go. Just to be more true to the sunset clouds. Let's go for orange. You can experiment with the coloring. That's your choice again. Okay, so I think that's way nicer. So that's 6, 53, 40, and 20. If you want to change those colors, go ahead. If you want to go to RGB, it's going to be this set of colors. Just select these, or you can, the easiest one is just make sure you write down BF7670 right here where the little number sign is. Just put them in there and then press enter, and you should get this exact same color, but again, you can choose whatever color you want. Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna look a little bit different, but that's fine. All right, now we're going to select our trunk. So you can tell it looks a lot different. This one is more simplified. This one's a little bit more complex. Okay, so it disappeared. Let's make sure it's not going to disappear on us. So Shift, Control, close bracket, or right click, arrange, and bring to front. Doing that. Oh, okay, there you go. It was a line. Okay, and you can use the eyedrop tool for this one because it's the same color as the swatch. This one I used gray, but then I decided to change the color later. Now that I remember. Okay. Now we're going to move things around, make sure they were fine. Again, you could always experiment, add more shapes, do whatever you like. That's your choice. All right, so we're going to select every shape that's in here. Make sure your reference guide isn't selected. Okay, now we're going to go to Effect. There you go. Stylize, and we're going to go to Drop Shadow. So that's the first section right here, Drop Shadow. Okay, it might take a while to load up, and immediately you're going to see the drop shadow. And it's not going to go right the first time. Okay, so we're going to have the shadow face upward from, you know, based on our reference. But here, they usually start out going down. It's usually because the light's always hanging around here from the top, but we're going to go here because it's the setting sun. Okay, so just keep in mind that it's going to go the opposite way. So I'm going to go click on the down arrow, and you're going to see that it's going to go up. It's hard to see. There you go. And then, so you can see it through here, and then also I'm going to choose a different color. So I'm going to go for a more blue color. So by clicking this, I think orange would be way better. Like a darker orange, just to stay true. There you go. It's a lot warmer. I like it a lot. Okay, and then let's see. Let's mess around with the X axis, the X offset. So that is going to, again, the opposite side. It's a little slow. It's a lot. You might freeze your computer. Look, I'm not even pressing. So you need to be careful when you're using this one. So okay, there you go. Multiply, everything looks good. Opacity, you can always change it to, yeah, my computer's not happy right now because I'm running multiple programs. You can do 60%, that's fine. So once you set up your drop shadow, you don't have to worry. Okay, so we had it move. Oh, actually it went to the left. I was just focusing on this shadow. Okay. So it looks fairly nice right now, but I want to have a shadow right here and right here. So we're going to grab this one, arrange, and we're going to send it to the back. And this one, we're going to control and close bracket one time, or yes, I think one time is good. And as for this one, I think that's fine. You can already see the cast shadow here. I want to move the cast shadow to the right because I realized that I wasn't pressing the right arrow. So that's really easy to fix. Let's select all of our shapes again. And we're going to go to the drop shadow. So where it says effects, so properties, effects, and then drop shadow, easy peasy, you get to change it right here. So we're going to go to 11 instead of -11. So let's click on that. And there you go, really quick fix. If you want to change, like this one has a drop shadow going on a different direction, it's illogical, but if you want to do that, you can. So let's go back to properties, drop shadow, And we're going to go the opposite way again, so 6, and then press OK. And now you have created your another fun thing about it. Let's make the shadow a little bit stronger. Now let's go to 75. Okay, 75. And then you could also make it blurrier if you want to. And make sure you have preview set so you can see what's happening. And press OK. So it's going to be a little bit blurry compared to this one. So you can do that too. Every shape you see, you can change the drop shadow within every shape, which is really, really nice. I really like doing this one. Okay, and let me go to this right here. Let's do a little bit more. Let's push this a little bit further. You know, I always like to do a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to go to the toolbar. And I'm going, sorry, my cats. Okay, draw inside. What I like to do personally is just go to the blob tool, make sure it's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to change the size again with the close bracket. And I'm going to, so it's on stroke. Let's bring this in. And actually, let's get out of draw mode or draw inside. Let's get out of that. So the way we can do that is just to double click. Let's do the shapes first and then we'll paste them inside the shape. That's a lot easier. Okay, so make sure it's a little bit darker. Okay, so what I like to do is I make blobby shapes that make no sense. This is a great tool because whatever stroke you create, it's going to be one complete stroke or shape. So, you know, look at this one, for example. Okay, so what we're going to do is, and let's change it to a different color too. I don't think they look nice. Okay, let's go a little bit more red. There you go, much more welcoming. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to go straight to the knife tool on the toolbar and then start cutting out some fun intricate shapes. And I'm going to get rid of the rounder shapes. So the ones on the edge are usually out and the ones in the middle are usually in, so they create more organic cutouts. And I'm going to do more wavies right here. Yeah, draw inside is a little tricky, but I'd rather just work on the, actually that's not too bad. Okay, it's a little tricky because sometimes it doesn't want to work and sometimes it does. Okay, and then go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to go, oh, I did select it, that's what it's, oh yeah. Sometimes you forget to select things. There you go, there you go, there you go. This is fine, okay. So let's find, actually, let's get rid of the shape, and then this shape is really nice, very beautiful. Okay, this is good. And actually I want to use this one for here. So it has like little nice tiger stripes. Okay, if you don't want anything else to interfere while we're selecting our shapes, we're going to go select the background and then press Ctrl 2 just to lock it. Make sure you don't need to lock this one, it's fine. Okay, let's select our shapes. This is the best thing to do when you don't want to mask. Masking just creates another mess, so, but, you know, this is way easier. Okay, select our tree. Let's go to, oh, don't want to draw inside. Oh, it's already selected. Okay, correction. Please double click on your tree trunk. If you already chose draw inside, it will take you to the isolation layer. And in that layer, when it's all gray like this, paste the shapes that you already cut out onto the tree trunk, you know, the tiger stripes. Okay, thank you. So Control Shift V is what's going to help you create your mask. Now I'm going to deselect, and there you go. There, perfect. so I'm not too happy with the coloring. Okay, so I'm gonna again double click, and you get to select your shape. Let's go for a lighter color. So let's go to CMYK. You get more control here. I'm gonna go for this color. It's way nicer, more gentle. There you go. Much, much better. Okay, and then we're gonna again try to get into that isolated layer. You only double click once. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and then I'm gonna press that I on the keyboard, or you can go here and then click here. And excuse me, my throat. Okay, I know I have throat problems. This is the air. The air is pretty bad. Okay, I could also arrange them if you want to. You can arrange it however you want. That's your choice. So I'm gonna make it all go this way. And if you want to be extra cool, direct this one. You can also add a drop shadow with these. So there's a whole point to this, I promise you. Okay, so I'm gonna select all the shapes that I created. Make sure you're pressing shift. Oops. Make sure you're pressing shift while you're doing it. Okay, both. Okay, now we're gonna add the drop shadow effect, which is really cool. All right, effect, stylize, drop shadow. There you go. If it doesn't work, try again. Sometimes it's good to deselect and reselect. I wanna not make it too blurry, so I'm gonna go 5. And then if you don't see the preview, just press preview. Shouldn't be that blurry. So I'm gonna press OK to see what happens. Didn't change. Okay, so we get to change the drop shadow. So let's do 1 point. I don't know why it's probably taking a while. Okay, there you go. Let's do, I guess 5 wasn't enough. Let's do 2. Okay, 2 is fine. I think that's great. Okay, and then you could also change the color. So I'm gonna make it a little more welcoming. Make a nice little beautiful pink. Okay, there you go, and then press OK. It's a good theme. So you can add a shadow within a shadow, and you don't have to worry about overlapping lines. And again, when you're creating these lines, these shapes, make sure they overlap a lot. So when you move them around, you're not going to have any weird issues. Okay, this is very, really nice. So see, look at the difference. You just create something very beautiful out of this. If you want, you can add some extra shapes and then drop shadow. It's all up to you. Okay, and then remember, whatever is outside of the black line of the artboard is not going to print or save. Okay, so thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please message me as fast as you can. We have Tuesdays and Thursdays to fix things, go through the tutorial. I'm always open to suggestions. Again, you're also free to experiment and do whatever you want with this. Okay, thank you so much, and I'll see you next lesson. Thank you. Bye.